100% sure that most of us kids in the 90s have grown up with great TV shows that were aired back then. Most of them were aired on TV channels that people watched when they didn't have cable. I was one of those kids, and let me tell you, it was amazing. But that's not all. Those who had VHS players back in the day would watch episodes from TV shows that were recorded, mainly because we had school and we couldn't watch our favorite shows when they were on TV. We were only able to watch them on TV at a certain time, mainly when we were at home enough for us to watch the new episodes. I happened to have a nostalgic feeling one day. It all started when I was still living with my parents. I was around 23 years old, still looking for a job, and I was also a college student at the time. I was scrolling through YouTube and watching new videos that were out, even just watching random videos out of boredom. I happened to see some full episodes of a TV show that was my childhood, and mainly I watched them when no one else was around. That was only because my so-called friends would make fun of me for watching kids shows. But since I was used to that and I was autistic, it didn't really matter. I then came across a TV show that I somewhat remembered seeing as a child, but I couldn't remember. I do know it was made by DiC Animation City around the time when the show came out, and the episodes I found full episodes of the 1990 animated cartoon series. It was none other than The Wizard of Oz. It is based on the MGM movie made back in 1939, and years later, DiC Animation City decided to adapt the movie into its animated series. I kind of remember watching it on TV. Might have been the time I was around 6 years old. For some reason, or at least for such time as I had, I watched all 12 episodes of the show. I enjoyed watching childhood shows, but I always wondered about something with the series. The question is this: why didn't they have a 13th episode? That always bugs me ever since I watched the full series. I then decided to go on Vlare after being bored from YouTube, only to watch some videos that were not available due to copyright and or other stuff. Vlare is a video site for those who don't know what it is. It's kind of like YouTube, but it's pretty different for those who want to know. While scrolling through Vlare, I found a video that based on the Wizard of Oz cartoon series. No, it wasn't the Japanese anime or anything like that. It was the cartoon series from the 90s. I noticed the title of the episode that I have not seen before. The video of the title was called The Wizard of Oz, Episode 13, Freaky Friday. Now, I was starting to get pretty excited, mainly because it was the 13th episode of the series, but that was not all. I was going to be one of the very first people to view this episode. I only saw the video was posted to Vlare maybe about 16 minutes ago, with only 5 views. I clicked on the video and looked at the timestamp. The episode was at least around 24 minutes long. I knew this was episode 13 mainly because the first episode, The Rescue of Emerald City, was split into 2 parts. The episode starts off with the intro, Dorothy and Toto going to Oz and meet their friends, and they even have Glinda being shown along with the Wicked Witch of the West, the Wizard, and the Flying Monkeys as well. Once the intro ended, a title card popped up in its episode title. The episode's name was called Freaky Friday. I was wondering why the episode was called that, but I was starting to wonder about this episode, so I decided to continue to watch the episode. Most of these episodes start off with Dorothy and her friends as usual, as they were on the Yellow Brick Road. Most of these episodes start off with them chasing after the wizard, who is being blown away by the west wind. But that didn't happen in this episode. Instead, we see Dorothy and her friends lying down on some grass in the meadow. "What a nice day today is," Dorothy sighed. "You sure said it, Dorothy," Scarecrow replied. Toto then curled up into a ball and laid beside Dorothy. "I see a cloud that looks like a butterfly," Tin Man said as he pointed at one of the clouds. "I see it," Dorothy pointed at the butterfly that the Tin Man pointed at. "There's so much clouds in the sky. No west wind, thank God," Cowardly Lion said. The episode then shows the Wicked Witch in her castle. She was looking through her crystal ball as usual, only spying on Dorothy and her friends. "I need a plan to get the ruby slippers. I think I know what to do." The Wicked Witch smirked evilly as she walked up to her potions area, and she also grabbed her spell book. After flipping through the pages, she finally found the spell. Aha! She said in satisfaction. I'll put a spell on Dorothy. Her body will be switched into mine while I'm in her body. And then I'll give the ruby slippers to Dorothy in my body and then switch back. Then I'll be ruling Oz for all eternity. The Wicked Witch cackled as Truckle was being seen on screen in the next shot. He was eating a banana split with ice cream, and he wasn't paying any attention when the Wicked Witch of the West called his name. He just simply ignored her. Truckle, I need your help, the Wicked Witch called, but Truckle didn't answer. The Wicked Witch grabbed the monkey sidekid's banana split and then tossed it out of the window. It caused the monkey to get mad. He didn't like what his boss did. What was that for? Truckle asked in anger. He wasn't happy with what his boss did. I haven't finished my banana split. Shut your mouth, monkey, the Wicked Witch replied. She smacked Truckle across the face. We're going to pull off of a Freaky Friday, and this time I'll get the ruby slippers. What's a Freaky Friday, your wickedness? Truckle asked as he was confused on what the Wicked Witch said. Man, your monkey brain is the size of a pea. What my plan is that I put a spell on Dorothy and will cause her and I to switch bodies. That is a Freaky Friday move I'm pulling. Plus, I'll give my body the ruby slippers while I'm inside Dorothy's body, and then switch back, and then I'll have the ruby slippers. The Wicked Witch replied with an evil smirk on her face. How will that work? Truckle asked. I'll have Dorothy under a spell with this fortune cookie. She'll make the biggest mistake ever. The Wicked Witch cackled once again as she wanted her plan to be a success. The next scene transitions to Dorothy and her friends traveling back to Munchkinland, mainly because they were needed by Glinda. But I wasn't sure why they were needed. When Dorothy and her friends reach Munchkinland, Glinda then shows up. My dear Dorothy, Glinda began as she hugged her best friend. The Wicked Witch of the West can be seen in the bushes. She was disguised as a Chinese woman you see in Chinese restaurants, and she was waiting for the right moment. The Munchkins and I wanted you to come here, mainly because we have a problem, Glinda said. How can we help? What's going on? Dorothy asked. Well, all I could say is that the mayor of Munchkin City was kidnapped, Glinda replied. I think the Wicked Witch has something to do about it, but we need to find him. We'll do that, right guys? Dorothy asked her friends. They all nodded in agreement. Then the Chinese restaurant woman showed up with a fortune cookie, and she walked up towards Dorothy and Glinda. Would you care for a cookie? The Chinese woman asked. Dorothy started to get suspicious about the woman, but Glinda took the fortune cookie before Dorothy could. I wasn't sure why Glinda did that, but the next part is when I found out. The Chinese woman ran out of sight and then hid behind a bush. The Wicked Witch of the West shapeshifted back to normal, and she watched in the distance for the spell to work. Glinda held the fortune cookie in her hands, and Dorothy was confused. Glinda, why are you holding the fortune cookie? Dorothy asked. I don't know, Dorothy. It might be dangerous for you to open it. So this is why I'll do it, Glinda replied as she opened the fortune cookie. It had a piece of paper with writing inside. What does it say, Glinda? Scarecrow asked. I hope it isn't dangerous, Cowardly Lion added. Toto then started barking at the piece of paper held in Glinda's hands. Dorothy was sensing something was wrong, but she stood still at the thought. It says, what you're about to see will be freaky, whatever it is. Glinda was confused, so she was thinking for a moment when a puff of purple smoke came out of nowhere. Dorothy and her friends all took cover at this. Once the smoke was gone, Glinda had a look of terror on her face. Glinda, are you okay? Dorothy asked, only to get a smack across the face by the Witch of the North. What is this? The voice wasn't Glinda's, but it was from the Wicked Witch. She then realized that she was in Glinda's body when she should have been in Dorothy's body. How did this happen? I thought I was supposed to be in Dorothy's body. Dorothy was confused, at the same time with her friends, but they realized that something was not right. Did they just switch bodies? Cowardly Lion stuttered in terror. I'm afraid so, Lion, Scarecrow replied. Well, since I'm trapped in Glinda's body, I'll have to get the ruby slippers this way, the Wicked Witch said in Glinda's body. Then she used Glinda's magic to turn all the Munchkins into stone. Her spells Miss Dorothy and her friends, thankfully. Glinda, who was behind the bush, rubbed her head, and then she looked up to realize that she was in the Wicked Witch's body. Oh my goodness, what's happened to me? Truckle looked at Glinda, and he was confused on why his boss's voice sounded a lot like Glinda. Mistress, why does your voice sound like Glinda's? Truckle asked. That's because it's Glinda. I'm trapped in the Wicked Witch's body. Glinda realized in horror that the Wicked Witch was in her body. She saw all the munchkins were turned into stone, and only her magic was used by the Wicked Witch in her body. Oh no, she's in my body while I'm in her body. I must get Dorothy and her friends right away. This is not good at all. Oh, we better get out of here, Dorothy said as she and her friends ran out of Munchkinland, only to be stopped by Glinda. Dorothy, it's me, Glinda. Glinda's voice in the Wicked Witch's body was heard, so the Freaky Friday spell went off differently. I started to realize that the Wicked Witch's plan backfired. Well, not really. Glinda, is that you? Tin Man asked. Yes, it's me. I'm trapped inside the Wicked Witch's body, Glinda replied. We'll have to find a way to switch you guys back. We'll have to find a way, Dorothy replied as the Wicked Witch showed up, not in her own body, though. Oh, you'll need to reverse the Freaky Friday spell if you want your body back, Glinda. The Wicked Witch cackled as Dorothy used her ruby slippers, and she pleaded them to take her and Glinda and her friends away from Munchkinland. When they teleported away from Munchkinland, they ended up near Emerald City. This is not good. Glinda's trapped in the Wicked Witch's body. Cowardly Lion began to shake his head. He was confused and scared about what happened. How are we going to reverse the Freaky Friday spell? Scarecrow asked Dorothy. The Wicked Witch did say something about it. I think she has a spell book, Dorothy replied. Noticing that Truckle wasn't around, Glinda can pretty much control dark magic, but she didn't want it to be trapped inside a Wicked Witch's body. We're near Emerald City, but the wizard isn't there, Tin Man said as he and Dorothy and her friends saw the wizard returning to Emerald City. He landed his balloon and saw his friends. It's the wizard. I'm sure he can help us, Dorothy said. And get the mayor of Munchkin City free, Glinda replied. The wizard waved to Dorothy and her friends, but when he saw them, he also saw the Wicked Witch, but he didn't know it was Glinda at first. Dorothy, the Wicked Witch is with you guys? The wizard panicked. Wizard, Dorothy called to him. Glinda stood there confused on what's going on. Glinda's in the Wicked Witch's body. Something has gone wrong. The Wicked Witch is in Glinda's body, only using her magic for evil. It's true, and while I'm stuck inside her body, Glinda added. How did this happen? The wizard asked. The Wicked Witch wanted to use a spell on me and her, mainly to switch bodies, Dorothy replied. Glinda did risk it by having her body switched, and now we're in a mess. I see. I hope you can get your body back soon, Glinda, the wizard said. Me too. Man, I don't think she brushes her teeth, Glinda replied in disgust. She can feel that the Wicked Witch had never brushed her teeth. We must warn you about this, Glinda. This body you're in is weak to water, which means if you get wet, you'll melt, the wizard warned Glinda. He's right. We'll have to keep her away from water. We'll both need both bodies to switch her back, Dorothy added. How are we going to switch the bodies back? Cowardly Lion asked, hoping the wizard could help. Well, the Wicked Witch could reverse the spell, but it has to be the Freaky Friday spell, the wizard replied. That gave Dorothy an idea. If we go to the castle, there might be a book on how to reverse the spell, Dorothy began. And if the mayor of Munchkin City is there, we could set him free. That sounds like a great idea, Dorothy. But since I have dark magic, for me, it may be hard for me to control it, Glinda replied as she used the Wicked Witch's dark magic to make a broomstick appear. Whoa, Glinda's doing well with the dark magic, the Tin Man said in shock. We gotta hurry. We have no time to lose. Goodbye, wizard, and thanks, Dorothy said as Glinda and her broomstick took off in the sky. Dorothy used her ruby slippers and commanded them to teleport herself and her friends to the castle of the Wicked Witch. So far, the episode was interesting. I never understood why this episode was never shown on TV. It was a rather good episode, but it was freaky as hell. Like, I've never expected the Wicked Witch to use a spell that get too far. The next scene shows the Wicked Witch in Glinda's body with Truckle, and she had fun using Glinda's magic. This is so amusing. Using Glinda's power for evil is much fun as tormenting people. The Wicked Witch cackled as she used Glinda's power mainly to turn the Munchkins into stone. What do you think Glinda's gonna do about it? Truckle asked. The Wicked Witch turned to the winged monkey. She ain't doing nothing about it. As soon as I get those ruby slippers, Glinda wouldn't do anything about that. She doesn't even know my dark power, the Wicked Witch replied. Suddenly, she uses Glinda's magic and sets one of the Munchkins' houses on fire. I was starting to get nervous that the Wicked Witch would use Glinda's magic for evil, but I wanted to know what happens next. So the next scene cuts to Dorothy at the Wicked Witch's castle. Inside the castle, Dorothy along with her friends and Glinda were inside. Are you sure about this, Dorothy? Glinda asked. I have a bad feeling about this. The guards won't know it's you, Glinda, as long as you stay quiet, the Scarecrow replied. Wait till we get you back to your body. That Wicked Witch ain't getting away with this, Dorothy added. Then you can show us that witch silly, the Cowardly Lion bowled. Dorothy and her friends sneakily went inside the castle. They made sure the coast was cleared. Luckily, they didn't get caught by any of the Wicked Witch's guards. When the next scene transitions to the Wicked Witch's room, they spotted a few things. They found a spell book on the table, along with the Wicked Witch's crystal ball. There's a book, the Tin Man pointed out as Dorothy picked up the spell book from the floor. They all looked into the book. Here's a spell that switched the Wicked Witch's body with Glinda's, Dorothy said. Glinda began to think. Then she had an idea. Is there a way to reverse the spell? There is something about the reversing the spell, but it's going to be a challenge, Dorothy replied. We'll need 2 people in a room or in an area, and then we'll have to give one the fortune cookie. Just like the Wicked Witch did when she tried to switch your body with hers, Scarecrow said. But Glinda saved you. It was very heroic of her to do that, Tin Man added. But however, the fortune cookie has to be given to someone who had one from the one who cast the spell. So Glinda would have to give the fortune cookie to the Wicked Witch. It's in the order for the bodies to switch back, Dorothy replied. I don't think I can use dark magic. What if I hurt somebody? Glinda asked. Can you make a fortune cookie appear? Dorothy asked. Glinda used the Wicked Witch's dark magic, and the fortune cookie appeared on her hand. It looked like the one Glinda took it from the Wicked Witch. I did, and no one is hurt, Glinda replied. Now, we'll have to get to Munchkinland. The Wicked Witch is probably up to no good, Scarecrow said. Then Dorothy looked inside the Wicked Witch's crystal ball, and she had a look of horror on her face. She got her friends and Glinda to see what was happening. Oh dear, the Wicked Witch has turned the Munchkins into stone, Dorothy said in worry, as she's setting the houses on fire, Cowardly Lion exclaimed. We'll have to get back to Munchkinland right away, Tim added. Suddenly, Dorothy and her friends heard banging coming from the door, and Toto began barking like crazy. He knew someone was in a closet or somewhat. What was that? Glinda asked. Then Dorothy walked up to the door, which she assumed to be a closet, and then opened it. It was the mayor of Munchkinland. The mayor of Munchkinland? Tin Man was surprised along with everyone else. The Wicked Witch has kidnapped me and... The mayor of Munchkinland looked to see the Wicked Witch, and he got scared and ran back in the closet. Mayor of Munchkinland, it's me, Glinda. Glinda opened the closet door. Long story short, the Wicked Witch and I switched bodies. The mayor stepped out of the closet. Said she did? Why did she do that? The mayor of Munchkinland asked. The Wicked Witch wanted her and Dorothy to switch bodies for the ruby slippers, but I stepped in, so I'm in her body while she's in my body, Glinda explained. Well, we'll have to get your body back soon, Glinda, the Scarecrow said. Yes, the Wicked Witch is causing more trouble, Dorothy added. Then Glinda used her magic her teleportation spell. Although it was dark magic, Dorothy, along with Glinda, Scarecrow, Tin Man, Lion, and the mayor of Munchkinland all showed up at the center of Munchkinland. The Wicked Witch was having fun using Glinda's magic. She didn't even see Dorothy and her friends returned with the mayor. Dorothy and her friends hid behind a bush. How is this plan going to work? Scarecrow asked. Glinda will give the Wicked Witch a fortune cookie, and then when she opens it, this is what the book says so, Glinda and the Wicked Witch should be back in their own bodies. Dorothy replied, as long as we do what the book says. We'll be here in case if something happens, Tin Man added. Glinda then took a deep breath and then walked out of the bushes. The Wicked Witch turned to see Glinda in her body and smiled wickedly at her. Well, Miss Goody Goody Glinda, how does it feel being inside of a Wicked Witch body? The Wicked Witch asked as she cackled. Care for a fortune cookie? Glinda then showed the fortune cookie to the Wicked Witch. All the mischief that she made her a bit made her a bit hungry. Now, come to think of it, I am quite hungry. Well, maybe a little. Though a snack wouldn't hurt. The Wicked Witch snatched a fortune cookie from Glinda and then pinned up and ate the edible part of it. I think it's gonna work, Dorothy whispered. Toto barked as he saw Truckle flying away. Funny enough, Truckle didn't notice Dorothy and her friends behind the bushes. I guess he was blind, or maybe he didn't see them. I knew this was the ending of the episode because I only had a few minutes left. The Wicked Witch said as she looked at the small piece of paper that was inside the fortune cookie. Your plan has backfired, so be prepared for what's coming next. Suddenly, a puff of smoke surrounded the two witches. As soon as the smoke disappeared, both Glinda and the Wicked Witch were back in their own bodies. I'm in my body, Glinda said happily. The Wicked Witch snarled as she was about to put a spell on Glinda. Dorothy used her ruby slippers, and the Wicked Witch was thrown into the air by a firework attached to hers. I'll be back for you, Dorothy, my little pretty, the Wicked Witch screamed as she disappeared into the air. She's back to her own self, Scarecrow said. And Glinda's back to normal, Dorothy said, as Glinda used her magic to reverse what the Wicked Witch did. The Munchkins were free from stone, and the buildings were no longer on fire. Everything in Munchkinland was at peace. The mayor of Munchkinland thanked Dorothy and Glinda for the help they did. The ending shows Dorothy and her friends on their way again, to see the wizard. When the episode ended, I was surprised. Not only that I saw a never-aired episode, but I was one of the first people to see it on Vlare. I wanted to know where this episode came from, so I went on the Deke Animation City website to see if I could find any info about the episode. But however, I couldn't find any trace of information on the episode. So I went to contact Deke Animation City, and I emailed them explaining about the episode I saw. I waited about a month until they replied to my email. They explained that the episode was going to end the first season, but before it was aired to the public, it was scrapped. The reason why the writers of the episode Freaky Friday was planning to air after the 12th episode, Hot Air. But after it was made, the writers lost their interest in the episode, so they scrapped the episode together, but no one knows about the episode besides the director and the writers. The cast and crew were the only ones that saw the episode. I was wondering to myself, why didn't they have a second season of the series? Maybe the episode I watched was supposed to end it? I have no clue. Maybe someday I'll find out for sure. Until then, this episode is on Vlare for those who want to see it.